Hello all, welcome to Universal Group of Institutions, Bengaluru. Welcome to our special series on economics where we are understanding about the lesser known economic topics in much more detailed manner. In my previous video session, we have discussed about the DICGC, that is the insurance coverage for the deposits with the bank. What exactly is the DICGC, to all, which all, the kind of banks, the deposit insurance is available, and etc. In this particular video session, we are going to discuss one more a very important topic, that is the non-banking financial company. We are going to understand in detail about the non-banking financial company. The first and foremost, what exactly is a non-banking financial company? You need to understand is that it is a company registered under the Companies Act of 1956 and a Companies Act of 2013. Companies Act of 1956 or Companies Act of 2013, which is more latest one. So it has to be registered as a company, remember. Okay. And its principal business include, that is the main business or the major business, includes the loans and advances, acquisition of shares, stocks, bonds, debentures, or the government and local authority securities or a similar marketable securities. It has to be, that is the financial assets, or a leasing, hire and a purchase, or other similar financial activities. If it is engaged in these kind of the financial activities and is registered as a company under Companies Act of 2013, it will be known as the NBFC. And it does not include what? If the principal business is agriculture, industrial activity, purchase, sale of goods, except the securities, providing the services actually. Then here comes a question, what exactly is the principal business mean? Principal business mean, RBI has a very simple test, okay, a test called as a 50:50 test. What is a 50:50 test? Okay, 50 refers to the financial assets. Okay, the financial assets of the company must be more than 50% of the total assets. Okay, excluding intangible assets like trademark, like goodwill, like patent. So excluding these intangible assets, the total assets of the total assets of the company, more than 50% of the assets has to be the financial assets. Okay, that is the lending or the investment in debentures, bonds. Then the second important one, the income from these financial assets must be more than 50% of the gross income, not the net income. Rather, it is a more than 50% of the gross income is coming from these financial assets. Maybe interest from the loans, that is the source of income for the bank, or maybe the dividends earned on the shares. So company which fulfills both the condition must be registered as an NBFC with the Reserve Bank of India. Remember very, very clearly. And moreover, the term principal business is not defined in the RBI Act 1934. Rather, remember, this is very, very important. The principal business has not been defined under the RBI Act 1934. Rather, it is defined by the press note release of the Reserve Bank of India, very important one. And the purpose is to ensure that only companies mainly engaged in the financial activity are registered and regulated and supervised by the Reserve Bank of India. That is the main motto, the motive behind this concept called as the principal business. Companies mainly engage in agriculture, industry, trading of goods, services, immovable property activities are not regulated by the RBI merely because they conduct a very small financial activity. That is what is the whole idea of a 50:50. Then there comes a question, what is the difference between the commercial banks and the NBFCs? What they can do, what they cannot do. Okay, first one, NBFCs perform functions similar to the banks, such as lending and making investment. That is the advancement of the loans. The way a commercial bank lends the loan, NBFCs can also lend. However, banks and NBFCs are governed by the different statutory and regulatory requirements. For example, NBFCs cannot accept the demand deposits. They can accept only time deposits. Look at our savings bank accounts. As and when demand arises, we withdraw from that. We go to a hotel, we have breakfast, we make a payment. That UPI is linked with our savings account. That is, as I said, as and when demand arises, we are able to withdraw the deposits from the bank. So NBFCs cannot accept the demand deposits, very important one. So NBFCs are not part of the payment and settlement system. As a result, they cannot issue the checks drawn on themselves. This is another important one. And deposit insurance facility, that is the GIs of DICGC, is not available to the depositors of the NBFCs, which I have clearly highlighted in the last video session as well of the DICGC. Okay, so remember, the deposit insurance provided by the DICGC is not extended to the depositors of the NBFCs. There comes a question, what are the statutory provisions which regulates the NBFCs? So first one, under section 45I A of the RBI Act of 1934, an NBFC cannot start or carry on business without receiving the certification from the Reserve Bank of India. Remember, this is what you need to remember very clearly. I mean, these things are very, very important for the examinations like RBI Grade B and all. Okay, and net owned fund of how much? 10 crore. Okay. So from October 1, 2022, there has been slight changes with regard to the rules norms. Okay, new NBFCs seeking registration must have a net owned funds of 10 crore from the beginning. Okay, existing must have by March 31, 2027. Okay. I mean, does this mean, I mean, every kind of a NBFC must have only 10 crore? No. There are different class of NBFCs which have a different, limit of net owned funds. That is the criteria of net owned is different. What if this is an NBFC of infrastructure, okay, debt, okay, or what if this is an NBFC associated with the debt instrument? So different class of NBFC has a different criteria of net owned funds that you need to remember very clearly. And moreover, RBI does not regulate all kind of NBFCs depending upon their activities. Some NBFCs are regulated by IRDA, that is the Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority of India, and there is also the SEBI, Securities Exchange Board of India as well. So to avoid dual regulation, certain NBFCs regulated by other authorities are exempted from RBI registration, such as, which are they? Alternative investment funds, SEBI is going to take out, merchant banking companies, stock broking companies which are registered with the SEBI already, insurance companies which are already registered with the insurance regulator, that is the IRDAI, Nidhi companies, chit companies, state is going to look after, stock exchanges, as well as the mutual benefit companies. Then here comes the next question. Okay, I have a question for the viewers. You just tell me, I mean, how the chit funds and the multi-level marketing the companies are regulated in India, which is very, very important. Okay, so moving to the next is, can all NBFCs can accept the deposits? This is one more question. Okay, because we just saw NBFCs cannot accept the demand deposits. So here comes a question. What about the time deposits? No, all NBFCs cannot accept the public deposits. Only NBFCs that have a deposit accepting certificate of registration. Remember again very, very clearly. Okay, because UPSC can bluff, or the RBI Grade B we can see bluff saying that okay, all NBFCs are entitled to receive the time deposits. Again, here comes, that is, until and unless they have a specific registration of certificate, they cannot. Plus, such NBFCs must also have a minimum investment grade credit rating, that is the BBB minus, very, very important. And plus, there is a ceiling on the limit of deposits acceptance as well. So eligible NBFCs can accept or hold public deposits only up to 1.5 times of their net owned funds. Remember very, very clearly what is the limit? That is the 1.5 times. Okay, and what is the maximum rate of interest that they can offer to the depositors? That is the 12.5%, and interest may be paid or compounded at rest not shorter than the monthly rest. Okay, so what is the period of deposit? The period of deposit, NBFCs can accept or renew public deposits repayable after 12 months, not later than 60 months. That means the time period for the time deposits is only between 1 to 5 years. They cannot accept time deposits less than 1 year. They cannot accept time deposits which is more than 5 years. Remember very, very clearly. So RBI is very tightly regulating the deposit rules for the NBFCs. It is all to protect the interests of the depositors, as the deposit insurance facility is not extended to these NBFC deposit. That is the only reason okay RBI has these tighter rules. Okay, then what happens if the NBFC defaults? I mean, NBFC is unable to pay to the depositors. If an NBFC defaults in repaying the depositors, then the depositor can approach the National Company Law Tribunal, that is the NCLT, or file a complaint at a consumer forum, that is the consumer courts, or file a civil suit in a court of law as well, that is the Indian courts. State government can also take action under the state laws for the protection of the interests of the depositors. State says, that is what I said with regard to the chit funds. Okay, such action can be taken even before the default occurs or before the compliance have, that is the suo motu cognizance can also be taken. If a fraud is suspected, state government can attach the properties of the financial establishment. NBFCs are also required to have a proper grievance redressal mechanism as well. And moreover, what will be the role of these NCLT, okay, National Company Law Tribunal? If the NBFC fails to repay the depositor, NCLT may act on its own or on the application filed by the depositor, can order the NBFC to repay the depositor immediately or within the time-bound manner as well, or still, if the depositor can approach NCLT by sending the application in a prescribed form to appropriate NCLT bench as per the territorial jurisdiction. Remember very, very clearly what is the grievance redressal, that exist for the people. And what about The grievances, again, the board of director of every NBFC must clearly specify what is the manner in which these grievances will be addressed of the depositors, or the complaint can always be filed through the complaint management system portal of Reserve Bank of India. As you can see, this is a portal that is meant to hear all these kind of the complaints against the NBFCs, designed and managed by the Reserve Bank of India. So these are the things that an aspirant must know related to the NBFC. So quick recap: NBFC is registered under the Companies Act of 56 or 2013. Okay, not every NBFC is regulated and supervised by RBI. There are other which are also regulated and supervised by the IRDA and SEBI as well. Chit funds under the state law as well. Okay, so NBFCs can accept demand deposits? Absolutely no. Can they accept time deposits? Yes. Can every NBFC can accept time deposits? No. They must have a certificate of deposit from the Reserve Bank of India. Then what is the rules for these time deposits? Time period of 1 to 5 years, not less than 1 year. They cannot accept time deposits. More than 5 years, they cannot accept time deposits. And what is how they can approach in case of default? They can always approach the National Company Law Tribunal. Similarly, the state government is also can take steps and have taken steps to protect the interests of the depositor. So that's it in this particular video session. Do like, do share, do subscribe. If you have any concern, do let us know in the comment section. Thank you.